It was a difficult week. My girlfriend and I were moving into our new apartment. How's the new one? I worked for several years without seeing a white light. We saved on food, clothes, and other necessities in order to take out a secondary mortgage. She was completely dead and smoky. It was inhabited by some marginalized people who even managed to cover up the ceiling. There were a lot of repairs to be done, but I was still glad that I was able to provide us with our own housing. Dacia and I almost immediately began to sort out the trash. She cleaned the creepy tiles in the bathroom. I took some broken furniture to the trash. It seemed like this cleaning would never end. I was putting together a new kitchen table when the doorbell rang. Who could it be? Dacia asked, holding a broom in her hands. Maybe movers? I replied, and getting up from my knees, went to open the door. My mother was standing on the landing. I was confused because I wasn't ready to seat her here. My mother broke into a smile and hugged me. "Sardinia, how are you doing here?" "I'm probably hungry," she said, and went into the apartment. "I know I'm hungry. I brought you a can of soup." I took the bag and we went into the kitchen. The mother looked around the house. "Why is the stove so dirty? Is Dacia going to cook dinner?" "Hello, Aunt Natasha." "I'm actually here," the girl replied. "Oh, it's about to start." I thought. I didn't know how to establish a relationship between them. It seemed like this confrontation could go on indefinitely. For some reason, Mom didn't like Dacia very much. She was constantly making all sorts of jokes about her. But it just so happened that my girlfriend was not one of the timid ones who always rebuffed her. Their hidden and mutual hatred was in the air like a toxic cloud, poisoning everything around them. And why do we need to cook? We still have so many things to do. We would have ordered pizza, but you brought the soup, and we'll have dinner. I intervened to prevent swearing. Pizza. The food should be homemade and fresh, and fast food can earn gastritis. You eat like tramps all the time, Mom emphasized haughtily. I noticed how Dacia was already taking a deep breath to answer her. Therefore, he hastened to seize the initiative. "Mom, let's go into the hallway. Let's not stop Dacia from cleaning up. The dust is flying here." I took her away from my girlfriend. He thanked me for the tooth and began hinting that now was not the right time to visit. Already at the door, the mother stopped and whispered, "Sardinia, are you seriously going to live with her? I understand that you used to rent an apartment in half. It was useful, but now way? You have your own place. Maybe you can find someone better." "But what about Alachka?" "Maya, I met Allah in the 10th grade. I don't remember what she looks like. Dacia, this is my choice. I love her. Maybe I'll marry her soon," I insisted. "Son, but she's not the boss. He can't even cook borscht. There's also something withering. Are you going to get married?" "She's a beast. Sponger." Mom grimaced and looked towards the kitchen. "That's it. For now." I entered the apartment and closed the door in front of her. This dialogue has stuck in me with resentment. Dacia and I have been together for the 3rd year now, and no matter how much I loved my mom, her words about my girlfriend really hooked me. In a couple of weeks, we made the apartment look divine. We re-glued the wallpaper, replaced the furniture, and tried to create comfort using available means, liked our, if not ideal, accommodation. When Dacia suggested a housewarming party, I immediately liked the idea. We called her parents, some friends, and my mom. There was a dispute about her, of course. "I don't want a spoiled mood as a gift," the girl insisted. "I know that Mom is not an angel, but try not to pay attention to her words. The main thing is that I love you." I repeated. On the one hand, I knew that my girlfriend would have to defend herself all evening. On the other hand, it would be strange to invite her parents and not greet the guests. Our friends came first. They brought a couple of expensive bottles of wine and some jokes about our creepy neighborhood. Dacia's parents gave her a microwave oven. She probably hinted too directly at what was missing most in her new place. The atmosphere was harmonious. My friend from work was excitedly telling me what a jerk our boss was, but he was interrupted by the doorbell. Dacia shuddered. It was as if she had vomited into reality, where she would have to forget about a pleasant evening. But to my surprise, Mom came in high spirits. She greeted everyone and took out a trinket from a bag. "What is it?" "Is this for us?" I asked. "No, it's for Dacia." The mother handed the girl a small figure of a dancing ballerina. I saw Dacia tense up, expecting a trick, but she accepted the gift. It was a wind-up musical toy, about 15 centimeters tall. Not a cheap, plastic souvenir, but a real antique. At least that's what she looked like. A porcelain girl in a fabric tutu embroidered with pale blue flowers. It stood on a lacquered wooden stand, to which was attached a small silver key. "Thank you, Aunt Natasha. She's very beautiful." The girl replied kindly. "It's not just a figurine, it's a symbol of lightness, femininity, and a happy life." Mom was beaming. I relaxed and was surprised at the same time. Did Mother finally realize that it was pointless to wage war and decided to leave us alone? The rest of the evening passed peacefully. Dacia and Mom were communicating normally, and I looked at it without hiding a smile. It's great to have a good relationship between your loved ones. The spring sun dazzled my eyes. I tried to hide under the covers. We didn't have curtains yet, so we had to wake up at dawn. Dacia was rattling cups in the kitchen, and I followed the smell of coffee. "Good morning," the girl said when she saw me. "Hi," I replied, picking up the coffee maker flask. "And from whom did we get such a charm?" "From Vicky. She always gives practical things," Dacia replied. I immediately understood what this clarification was about. A stone in my mother's garden with her ballerina. I decided not to stick to the words, but just poured coffee into a mug and said, "Well, thanks to Vika." Dacia kissed me on the cheek and left the kitchen. I was sitting at the table, flipping through the news on my phone, sipping coffee, and suddenly, a broken melody sounded from the room. A metallic chirp that turned into a sluggish, slow waltz, the notes of which sounded uneven and stretched. It was Dacia who launched the musical figure. "It's creepy," I said, peeking into the room. "I think it's cool," the girl said. She held the figure in her hands and watched the movements of the ballerina as if fascinated. The porcelain doll only spun to the monotonous pelican. The value of the statuette was only in its vintage. Mom must have bought it at a flea market. "I'll put it on the bookcase," Dacia said when the melody finished playing. "As you wish," I replied. We had a bookcase in the hallway between the rooms. You could say it's always in plain sight. I was pleased that she wasn't going to shove my mom's gift somewhere far away so it wouldn't bother her eyes. I hoped that this eternal tension would finally disappear. I would have forgotten about this figurine. There's a lot going on. We continued to build our nest, and in the evening, I decided to pamper us and took Dacia to a restaurant for dinner. It was the last good day. I fell asleep peacefully next to the girl I love, hoping to get some sleep, and then in the middle of the night she woke me up. Sergey, quote, "Wake up." Dacia was shaking my shoulder, digging her nails into my skin. I croaked without opening my eyes. "Wake up," the girl insisted. "What the hell is this?" I asked with annoyance. Dacia's frightened eyes were white in the dark. "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" I strained my ears. The apartment was quiet. "A clockwork ballerina was playing just now," the girl said. I shook my head, trying to collect my thoughts. "I don't understand you." I was woken up by music from the hallway, Baisha explained. She was playing by herself. It's scary. I tried to reason with her. But you're not a child. It's a mechanical toy. There's still a factory in it. You think, God, you're like a little girl, honestly. Let's go to sleep. I turned to the wall, not intending to continue this stupid conversation. Dasha was only a year younger than me, but she still believed in some fairy tales like a child. It might be considered cute, but not at 3 in the morning. I was a little angry this morning because the girl had disturbed me at night, but I wasn't going to bring it up. But she still took her fears seriously. Dasha was standing in the hallway by the bookcase with a mug of coffee and was carefully examining a porcelain ballerina. Why are you glaring at her? I asked. She's weird, Dasha said, not even looking at me. Why is it strange? I stood next to her and also looked at the toy as a toy. The girl shrugged her shoulders. I don't know if there's something fascinating about it. It's alive and creepy. Dash, if you don't like it, let's put it somewhere far away. I reached for the figurine, but the girl caught my hand. Dash, if you don't like it, let's put it away, somewhere far away. I reached for the figurine, but the girl caught my hand. No, it's better to let him stand here. Whatever you say, I replied and went to the kitchen to get my cup of coffee. It seemed to me that there was too much attention to this useless thing, but that was just the beginning. One day, by turning the key, Dacia triggered the mechanism of our nightmare, which was repeated from night to night. The next time I was woken up, it wasn't the girl, but an uneasy feeling that something was wrong. I opened my eyes in the middle of the night, and there seemed to be nothing nearby. She began to drink water or go to the toilet, but why did she launch this musical figure at such a time? This broken ringing waltz played by a rusty mechanism sounded from the corridor. Awful. Dacia, I shouted. The girl did not answer, and the melody went on and on. I had to get up. I went out into the hallway and saw her. She was standing by the bookcase with her hands on the shelf, and she watched the porcelain ballerina spin. Hey, I called out. The girl did not answer. Is this really a dream? Dacia? I gently put my hand on her shoulder. What? She replied without turning around. What are you doing? I asked, looking into the girl's face. Her eyes were wide open. It's not me. She's on her own, the dry lips whispered. The ballerina spun and spun. The musical mechanism rattled, tinkled, and skipped notes. Are you serious right now? Dasha nodded confidently. Yes, I woke up and she was playing. I didn't even touch her. And how is this possible? I asked. The girl looked at me with big round eyes and said, But you don't understand. She's cursed. I felt myself turn pale at those words. Dacia, please don't scare me. I'm terrified myself, the girl replied. The musical figure finally fell silent, and the ballerina froze, staring at me with painted eyes. The atmosphere of a night in an old apartment. She inspired superstitious fear. I almost believed the girl's words, but I pulled myself away and asked, Have you ever walked in your sleep? What are you implying? Dasha was offended. Do you think I got up, turned it on, and forgot about it? I shrugged my shoulders. I have no other explanation. I told you, it's a damn toy. The girl looked at the ballerina's figure as if it were something dangerous. Your mom doesn't like me. She's casting spells against us. I've had enough of this obscurantism. I grabbed the doll by the stand, intending to throw it into the trash can. I still don't need you to go crazy. No need. Dasha grabbed my hand tightly and forced me to put the ballerina back in her place. "I'll throw it away tomorrow anyway," I promised. "I'm tired of this." "Okay, just don't touch her now." She shielded the figure with her, as if protecting it from the offender. I pulled the girl into the room. "That's it. Let's go to sleep." In the morning, I did not forget about my promise, and leaving for work, I took a musical toy with me. I wasn't at all afraid to offend my mother when she was concerned about the fate of the things she gave me. "Seryoja," Dasha said softly, catching up with me at the threshold. "Don't even think about it," I replied, realizing that she was going to beg me to leave this idiotic figure. I would never have thought that my girlfriend was so suspicious. He believes in the curse. Horror. Passing by the garbage area, I threw the statue into the container without regret, and a minute later my mother called me, as if she felt it. "Yes, Mom," I replied. "Hi, son. How are you doing?" she asked, as if expecting something. "Yes, it's fine," I replied habitually. "How are you?" Slowly. "How's your dacha?" There was a note of curiosity in this question. Strangely, she usually didn't ask anything about her. "She's fine," I replied. "We live soul to soul." Well, that's good. That seemed to be all she was interested in. Then the conversation became somewhat sluggish, and Mom hurried to finish it, referring to cases. That's when the doubt crept into my soul. Or maybe I shouldn't have trusted my girlfriend's intuition. Something was wrong here, but I didn't consider it necessary to think about it any further. The cursed or not cursed statuette was now lying in the trash. I could forget about it. My girlfriend became kind of taciturn. She didn't ask me anything at dinner. She barely touched the food. She sat with a fork in her hand and stared thoughtfully at the wall. I had to repeat my questions twice to make her hear me. I thought Dacia needed to be in her thoughts, so I didn't bother her much. We went to bed early, wishing each other a good night. I was hoping that I would finally get a good night's sleep, but the music woke me up again. I thought I was dreaming. Woke up. The girl is not around, and from another room, a broken waltz is pouring out. I jumped up, went there and found Dacia sitting on the floor. A ballerina's figure was spinning at her knees. It looked like a psychosis. "Dacia, this nightmare took my breath away." "Don't interfere," the girl said sternly, without taking her eyes off the figure. I ran up, grabbed the statue, and screamed. "Don't interfere with what? What are you doing here? Are you crazy?" Dacia got up from her knees and rushed at me. "No, I'm not crazy. Give it back. You dragged it from the dump," I shouted, hiding the figurine behind my back. "What's going on with you?" "Seryoja, you don't understand. It's a curse." The girl was screaming. I angrily threw the statue at the wall, and it shattered into pieces. The porcelain fragments were now scattered all over the room, and only the edge of a shoe remained on the surviving lacquered stand. The melody stopped. Dacia began to sob loudly. "What have you done? I'm taking you to a therapist tomorrow. Do you understand me?" I shouted. This threat had an effect on the girl. She sighed, wiped her tears, and answered sadly. "I realized that you don't believe me. What should I believe in? Your mom put a spell on us. She hates me. He wants to separate us. The curse is broken. See?" I pointed at the pieces around me. Dacia didn't say another word to me. I just went back to the bedroom and got into bed. No, it wasn't the end of the whole scary night. I really wanted to sleep until morning and decide with a fresh head what to do next. But after about an hour of shallow sleep, this rusty melody started playing in our apartment again. I woke up alone again and screamed. "Dacia!" She didn't answer. I jumped up, ran into another room, and almost collapsed from what I saw. My girlfriend was standing there, in a ballerina's pose, on one leg and with her arms above her head. And blood was flowing from her eyes, mouth, and nose in thick streams. The long, light-colored t-shirt was soaked through. "Tasha, what's wrong with you?" I screamed in horror, hitting the light switch. The girl did not move or close her eyes against the light. She was staring at nothing, her eyes wide open. A wooden stand lay in the corner, rattling with a terrifying melody. It is unclear how the girl managed to keep her balance in this position. She was literally standing on 3 fingers. I ran over, grabbed her, and she collapsed into my arms. Cold, hard as a statue. Every muscle was tense. I had to lay her on the floor to call an ambulance. Then, everything was remembered in fragments. Dacia was carried out on a stretcher and loaded into a car. I went to and asked all the way, "What's wrong with her?" And they answered me, "We don't know." She was sent to the intensive care unit at the hospital. I was asked to wait in the hallway. I was all on edge, and as soon as I saw the doctor, I ran up with a question. "How is she?" "It's hard," while unconscious, the man replied. "What happened to her?" I asked. "We don't know yet, but we'll find out soon enough. Go home. You can't help her yet. It's 3:30 on the clock." I wanted to stay in the hospital, but I thought I'd just torture myself waiting, so I decided to go home and force myself to sleep. The next day was going to be hard, and it took strength. And so he did. He arrived, collapsed in bed, tossed and turned the rest of the night without closing his eyes. By morning, the anxiety had subsided a little, and I fell asleep for a few minutes. A local beach appeared before my eyes. The sun was shining high in the sky. The sand was sticking to my feet, and some people were playing volleyball. Dacia's voice came from behind me, and I turned around. "How did you end up here? You're a handsome man." Dacia's voice rang out behind me, and I turned around. "How did you end up here? Aren't you in the hospital?" I asked, not understanding. At that moment, I realized that it was just a dream, and it wasn't real. This beach, where we first met, this glitter of water and Dacia, everything is just unreal. My chest was crushed by a stone of sadness. Dacia stopped smiling and became sad. Heavy clouds fell on the clear sky and it darkened. Raindrops appeared on the girl's face, as if tears were running down her cheeks. "Everything will be fine. You're strong. You can handle it," I said softly. "Help me, I'm dying," Dacia replied calmly. She stretched out her hand. It fell off and fell to the sand. I shuddered with surprise and horror. "Your mother, it's your mother, sent a curse. Give her the toy back, that I can wake up." "Hurry up, it will be too late soon," the girl said. And her limbs were falling off, one by one. I jumped into bed screaming. My heart was pounding like crazy. The blanket was soaked with sweat. I couldn't sleep anymore. Birds were brightening and chirping outside the window. I took a cool shower to cheer myself up after a sleepless night, but it didn't help. This realistic nightmare is stuck in my head. Could the events of the last few days be the work of Mom? I refuse to believe it. She is certainly harmful, but she would hardly try to kill Dacia. On the other hand, I've seen enough horror that I won't be surprised anymore. What nonsense. Everything is full of chaos and thrash. I didn't know what to believe. But what if it helps Dacia? What if it's not just a nightmare? Then I can save her. I was rushing around for a long time and didn't know what to do. In the end, I called my mom and said I wanted to come visit right now. She was very happy, but she said, "I'm not at home, son. I'm going to the pastry shop. Let's do it after lunch." My legs couldn't find a place. I was walking in circles, nervous, and didn't know what to do with myself. Time seemed to have ridiculously slowed down. Grabbing the ballerina stand, I left the house and went to my mother. I had to wait for her at the entrance. I was in such a hurry that I was a little crazy. She's finally here. We went up to her apartment. "How is Dacia?" she asked. "The hospital," I replied. "Oh, wow, what happened?" Mom went into the kitchen. "I don't know if she got sick, but she's going to get better." I didn't want to tell you the details of what happened. Mom frowned. "Well, let's hope for the best. Would you like some tea and cake? I bought your favorite walnut." I agreed to have tea, but said I needed to wash my hands first. He went into the bathroom and turned on the faucet. While the water was hissing, I closed the latch, opened the shield under the bathroom, and threw the stand into the far corner. I looked at my reflection and thought, "You're completely crazy, just like Dacia. Madness is contagious. And soon you'll be lying in the next bed." I returned to the kitchen, gulped down my tea, and said I had to run. I couldn't stand being with her. What if she's really responsible for what happened to my girlfriend? As soon as I left the entrance, the phone rang. "Hello, Sergey. Could you come to the hospital?" A smile appeared on my face. "Yes, I can. What is it? Has Dacia come to her senses?" "Dacia passed away." These words gave way to my legs, and I plopped down on the nearest bench. "We are very sorry." I didn't listen to what was said afterwards. Everything was a blur. I don't remember going there. I don't remember what the doctor looked like. My world seemed to collapse in an instant. The next day, I was sitting in the apartment and didn't know how I was going to live my life. They're helping with funeral arrangements. I ignored them and all the calls. I didn't want to hear from anyone. But suddenly, there was a knock on the door. A policeman appeared in front of me, who informed me that one of the neighbors had found my mother's corpse. What an irony. I laughed and cried at the unreality of everything that was happening. That doesn't happen. I refused to believe it. 2 days, 2 deaths, 2 coffins, 2 of my beloved women, 2 graves next door.